Seniors Gilberto Camacho and Kenny Anderson, two All-Americans from last year's national championship team, will be out due to athletic eligibility. Anderson, who first wrestled a year at Iowa Central, moved back home to Massachusetts, where he washed buses full-time before coming to Wartburg. His dream of one day winning a national title never died.
I was working full-time, a few different jobs, and that kind of just made me realize I need wrestling in my life, and because I didn't want to be sitting, saying coulda, shoulda, woulda for the rest of my life.
Camacho, who was originally from Mexico, chose Wartburg after a chance encounter with head wrestling coach Eric Keller's father while wrestling in Iowa City.
Out of the blue, my coaches came to me like, all right, you're going to Iowa. I'm like, oh, okay.
Since coming to Wartburg, the two quickly earned spots on the varsity roster, becoming part of night tradition. However, with the fourth consecutive national championship on the line for Wartburg, a feat no Division III team has ever accomplished, the two must stay on top of their game. Not being able to practice with the team makes that much more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, and it's not an ideal training situation for those guys. It's different for us just because for what those two bring to the table, their intensity, their leadership, their approach to just the everyday room, and obviously competition.
When the two return to the mat for the second half of the regular season, their main focus will be on one thing: another national championship.
Of course, I want to win a third national title. I want to go undefeated again. I want to do the same with the team again, win another national title. And the ultimate goal, it's the same as it's been every year, just win the whole way through.
I want to win a national title, Once I set my mind to it, there's no going back to it.
What Wartburg is giving these two athletes is much more than the sport of wrestling.
You got to do what you love to do to be happy. So coming here, it's more than a second chance. I can't really explain. I don't know what I'd be doing if not. It's kind of scary to think about.
For Anderson, no longer does he dream about winning national championships while polishing school buses back in Billerica, Massachusetts. Instead, the only thing he'll need polishing in the future is his trophies he's earned here at Wartburg College. Reporting for Sports Night, I'm Seth Nutting.
Welcome back to Sports Night. This week we take to Hoover Fieldhouse for They Can We, where Sports Night Seth Nutting takes an in-depth look at one of track's most popular field events.
I'm here with Andy Bellamy, sophomore here at Wartburg College, who's a member of the Wartburg track and field team, and he's going to teach me how to shot put. First off, what are some key things you do to get physically and mentally prepared for the shot put?
Usually we run a few laps, do some sit-down stretches, some moving stretches, and then we'll go up and down these lines on the courts, doing our wheels, and then we'll go against the wall, and we'll do some coming out of our back position. And then we'll get in the ring and we'll do some front throws, some power throws, some wheels, some South African throws, and then we'll finally do some of our full throws before we're ready to go.
With that, it was time to begin our warm-up.
So the wheel is the next part after, it's basically the middle after you come out of the back and before you get into center or into your power position. It basically just changes directions. Instead of facing that way, we're facing the back now and we're in our power position.
Is that good?
Yeah, not bad.
Then it was on to our next warm-up, the power throw.
The power throw is the final stage before you actually let the shot go. That's probably the most important. And you start off, if you're right-handed like me, having your left toe to your right instep. You're going to put all your weight on your right leg, bent right leg, straight left leg. You're going to rotate your right foot. You're going to push your hips forward, and you're going to finish like this.
Oh, that was terrible. Now it's time to put our warm-ups to use as we actually do the shot put and see who the strongest man really is. Being the gentleman that I am, I let the lady go first. Unfortunately, he didn't throw like a lady, but I did. Oh my God. On our third throw, I had one last chance to prove myself. No, I keep scratching. So obviously, this is my first time and it didn't go so well for me. Reporting for Sports Night, I'm Seth Nutting.
This week's Senior Spotlight focuses on one of Wartburg's biggest stars on the oval.
Kendra Kriegel is as dedicated, passionate, and hardworking as any athlete here at Wartburg College, and no one can advocate more for the senior than girls head track coach Marcus Newsom.
Tremendous leader, just a woman of great character, and like probably one of the hardest workers I've coached.
Kendra chose Wartburg not only because of its great tradition and history, but because she knew she would be pushed to become a better athlete and better person.
I wanted to be a part of something that was bigger, and I knew that to compete at the level I wanted to compete at, I would have to go somewhere where there would be people to train with and push me to get to where I wanted to go.
One of her biggest supporters was Coach Newsom.
Coach Newsom is one of the greatest men I have ever met in my life. He's really strong on faith and passion, and absolutely loves the sport and absolutely loves each and every one of his athletes. He thinks of us as his own children, and I wouldn't want to run for any other coach.
Last year marked Kendra's most dominant year so far at Wartburg, helping her team capture their third national title in 4 years.
Indoor nationals last year was probably the most inspirational and part that sticks out the most, because that's when Coach Newsom's sister was struggling. So we weren't just competing for ourselves and for Wartburg, but we were competing for Natalie as well. And then to win the way we won for her just meant a lot.
With last year's title in the distant past, Kendra is now warming up for her final year here at Wartburg.
She's my example in terms of, for my younger athletes, if you follow these footsteps, then there's nothing you can't accomplish.
So what's in store for this year's track and field team?
I just want this program to do the same thing again this year, prove everyone in the nation wrong that we are still the same dominant team that we've been in the past, and we're going to keep proving that to people. As
for individual goals, Coach Newsom's got a few in mind for his senior athlete.
And so, you know, for me, my last goal is I told her I wanted to make her an individual national champion, and I'm going to exhaust all options to see that dream comes true.
Reporting for Sports Night, I'm Seth Nutt. Wartburg is the 8th most efficient Division III private school in the country, according to a new study from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater.
It's good for the school. It brings a lot of recognition to Wartburg.
The study included over 450 private and public programs in Division III and is the first study of its kind in Division III sports. Wartburg received a higher efficiency than all but one public school.
It's getting our name out there. Appearing at national tournaments is good for Wartburg, and it shows our passion for all our sports, and that, you know, we don't just dominate in one. We're good all over the board, and that's what makes a good program.
The study based the rankings off of the Learfield Sports Directors Cup, awarding the top athletic teams in the nation. Wartburg is placed in the top 25 12 of the last 13 years. Using data as far back as 2007, the study also used recruiting expenses, operating expenses per student, the number of men's and women's sports participants, and the size of the school to determine overall rankings.
The percentage of our overall operating budget at the college that goes towards athletics is very small compared to the number of students at Wartburg that participate in athletics. Approximately
1/3 of all students at Wartburg are student athletes, and Willis says the college would be affected in many ways without them. Wartburg is primed and loaded once again to make a run at a top 25 finish nationally.
First lap, coach, I went out too fast.
With 5 fall conference titles under their belt, one in football, volleyball, men's soccer, women's golf, and women's cross country. The 5 championships is the most won in any fall season in Wartburg history, and trail only Penn State Barron in conference titles with 7.
There are no, major or minor sports at Wartburg College. We're trying to provide an atmosphere where all of our student athletes and all of our programs have a chance to compete and be successful.
Reporting for Sports Night, I'm Seth Nutting.